expect that, especially when you start to say things like Pam Bondi said she will follow the law, because the only thing that we have seen consistently out of this administration, whether we're talking about the failed prosecution of Comey, and I'm saying failed because that is absolutely what I anticipate is going to happen, we know that they are always doing the opposite of following the law. Every time we look at those court orders that they have ignored, you know, they have literally put us in this constitutional crisis in this country.
Justice isn't partisan. So why are these files hidden?
Seemingly thinks that what other branches have to say, well, you know what, that's advisory. It's not anything that they have to follow. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, but I don't expect transparency.
The president said tonight he thinks it's going to end up being really embarrassing for Democrats. Are you worried that it's going to be embarrassing for
I'm
your
not
party?
worried at all. I can tell you one thing, I ain't never worried about my name being in the Epstein Files. So that's one thing that we can talk about. Number two, for me, it's not partisan. It's somebody that worked in the criminal justice system. I understand what it is to sit across from a victim. I understand their stories. I understand the trauma, and I understand the lasting effects. Wrong is wrong, right is right. And I think that that is what we are missing in this administration. It seems like he consistently wants to give a pass so long as someone is a follower of his. That's what we saw with the January 6ers, that he decided that he was going to pardon. And then even after they got in trouble again, he decided to pardon them again. He seemingly only wants to go after people that he looks at as if they are opposition. We in this country, what justice looks like is going after whoever is wrong, no matter their race, no matter their political affiliation, and no matter how much money they do or don't have in the bank account.
So you're saying, yeah, you don't care even if it does embarrass Democrats.
I don't care. That's not what this is about. To me, it's not political. We need to make sure that we understand how it was that this was able to take place, and we need to make sure that we tear down those structures. We have an obligation as legislators to make sure that we do better by the people in this country. We need to make sure that there are no other children that end up in similar circumstances, whether Jeffrey Epstein is alive or dead. We need to make sure, because it wasn't just one man. This was a system, a sophisticated system that was set up. And so we need to make sure that there are no other victims going forward. I never said that it was that Jeffrey Epstein, just so that people understand when you make a donation, your picture is not there. And because they decided to spring this on us in real time, I wanted the Republicans to think about what could potentially happen, because I knew that they didn't even try to go through the FEC. So my team, what they did is they Googled, and that is specifically why I said a Jeffrey Epstein. Unlike Republicans, I at least don't go out and just tell lies. Because it was not the same one, that's fine. But when Lee Zeldin had something to say, all he had to say was it was a different Jeffrey Epstein. He admitted that he did receive donations from a Jeffrey Epstein, so at least I wasn't trying to mislead people. Now, have I dug in to find out who this doctor is? I have not. So I will trust and take what he says, is that it wasn't that Jeffrey Epstein, but I was not attempting to mislead anybody. I literally had maybe 20 minutes before I had to do that debate. Yeah, I'm not going to necessarily say that that's the case. Now, this is somebody that was a former prosecutor. Now, I haven't sat down and talked about all the specifics of why Stacey was doing what she was doing. I know that when she got up and she spoke, she talked about the fact that this is one of her constituents. At the end of the day, what I know of prosecutors is that they are typically talking to co-defendants. They are typically talking to the people that have the best information. And what you had was you had the former attorney for the president that was sitting there. And honestly, we knew, or she knew, or at least Jeffrey Epstein presented, that he was very cozy with the president. He had more information, registered sex offender or not. The bigger question is, why is it that the president was so cozy with a registered sex offender even after he ultimately ended up with some of his convictions? And seemingly, he had absolutely been on the plane with him. We know about the birthday card. The bigger question is, why is the president of the United States not the one that is in the hot seat for his relationship, instead of us saying, oh, you know what, we're going to take her off of her committee because he decided to text her. Stacey didn't initiate that chain. Jeffrey initiated that chain, and she took the information. Just like if somebody texts me.
Yeah, but she was responding and saying, you know, what are you talking about? Quick, I'm up next. And then her questions were about Rona. But do you think that was inappropriate? I mean, would you text with someone who is a registered sex offender about what you should ask?
I honestly know that he had never been convicted of any federal crimes at that time.
But he had been in jail already.
He had been in jail. Plea deal. And my deal is this. The Republicans are constantly texting with a 34-count convicted felon. So if it's okay for them to text him at any point in time, then I'm not going to say that that's right or wrong, especially to the extent that you're talking about kicking someone off their committee. Were they sexting? Was it a matter of her being involved in the pedophilia? No, it was nothing like that. She was trying to understand. Let's say Jeffrey Epstein said, you know what? I have these pictures, these salacious pictures, because I know that the president got down and did these things. Do you think that it would be inappropriate for her to ask about those things if he said he had personal knowledge?
I think the context matters, but obviously it seemed like he was helping her. But I do want to ask you before you go tonight, because in your home state, we've talked about redistricting there. Yeah. The federal judge saying that they have to use that 2021 map yesterday. I mean, this is what truly launched a redistricting arms race, basically, in this nation. I wonder, when you look at that ruling stands, do you think the blue states that have launched their own redistricting should stand down on it?
No, I don't. Because guess what? The president hasn't stood down, and the president started this. So if he wanted to start it and Democrats decide that they're going to finish it, then so be it. At the end of the day, number one, this is not a final ruling. We know that Texas has decided that they are going to appeal this up to the Supreme Court, Trump's Supreme Court, so it's not final. That's number one. Number two, we know that he now is applying pressure on Florida. We know that they were twisting the arms of those in Indiana to the extent that one of the Indiana Republicans ended up being doxxed here recently. We know that they took a seat away in Missouri. We know that they went to North Carolina after North Carolina, in my opinion, illegally took 3 seats last time. They took another seat out of North Carolina. We know that he tried to go to South Carolina. We know that as it relates right now, they're taking 1 or 2 seats out of Ohio. So no, I don't think that we should stop. I encourage Virginia to move forward. They have a mandate. We know that on November 4th, they overwhelmingly decided the Democrats should run their legislature. And I encourage Maryland and anybody else that can get into the game to get into the game.
And we'll be waiting to see if you get into the Senate game. You haven't decided, right?
I haven't decided.
Okay. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, thank you for your time tonight.
Absolutely.
Crockett's CNN ultimatum is shaking Washington. Will the Epstein files finally be released? Drop your take below, share if you demand transparency, and subscribe for updates before they're censored.